Take us back just a little bit when you were in high school.
That's right.
In high school, I know you said that you played basketball. Were there any other things that you were involved in, or you wish you may have been involved in, looking kind of back sometimes? Sometimes we go back and say, you know what, I did this in high school, but maybe I should have done this. Would this make me, better than, yeah.
So, I wish I was a part of the journalism team of Southwest DeKalb. So we had something called the Panther Report, something like that. And basically, it was just current events on what was going on at Southwest DeKalb. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. My mind was on basketball.
Okay.
So me going into media studies or sports journalism, that wasn't on my mind at the time. I will say I did serve as Mr. Senior at Southwest DeKalb my senior year.
Okay.
So other than basketball, that was another extracurricular activity I was involved in with the Royal Court of Southwest DeKalb back in the 2014-2015 school year.
Okay. So you would suggest that kids that are in high school currently, do you feel like they need to get involved more with the high school? What do you think?
Yes, I think it's really, I think it's a great idea to get involved around like your junior and senior year to prepare you for the next level of life. Okay. Whether you're going to graduate and go straight to the workforce or you're going to graduate and go straight to college. I think that it's very ideal to do something. And sometimes high school students, they don't have it all figured out just at that moment in time. However, if you do have something, if you do have a passion and something that you want to do coming out of high school, I think you should start, doing the beginning stages of it, your junior, senior year of high school, just to kind of prepare you for the next level.
And the reason why I ask that, I work with a lot of students, middle school and high school, that are really trying to figure it out, like you said. And a lot of times, I'll say we as the educators struggle with trying to communicate that with you all. So I'm hearing you say that is it real, or suggesting maybe is it really up to the kid to kind of step out there? We're trying to see which side needs to, it's almost like we're struggling to see where we need to go in our future with our kids that are before they enter college.
Right. I think it's a little bit of both. From the mentor side of it, I believe that yes, teachers, parents, counselors, they should encourage kids to follow their passion and follow their heart with their passion. However, it's up to the kid to make those decisions. If perfect example, if you really want to if you want to go into the journalism field and you know that this is what you want to do your junior, senior year of high school, then somehow, some way to give the student more encouragement, yes, the parent, the teacher, the counselor should try to put them in a position to thrive in that field. But like I just said, it's also up to the kid too to pull his or her weight, because you can only do so much. Y'all been there, done that, and you all are successful. So now it's up to the kid to be like, okay, do I really want to do this? If I want to do this, I have to make this happen. I have to, make this happen for myself, because no one's going to do it except for me. No one's going to make it happen except for me. Yeah, I got help. You have help. But who's going to really do 80% of the work? And that's up to the student.
What atmosphere do you feel like Fort Valley creates for students stepping on that campus?
It's a home away from home.
Okay.
It's a home away from home, from the other students, the faculty, the staff, from those who work in our food service. You know, it's a big family. Like, it's to the point where professors and faculty staff members know almost every student on campus. They may not have taken their class, they may not have advised them for classes, but they know who you are. And we are here for one another. We support one another. It is truly amazing. And for the simple fact that I came in fall 2015, these traditions are, you know, still continuing of being a family-oriented school. It's amazing because it shows the great pride that the students have for Valley State University. So it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. The student body does a great job of making sure things are still together.
And on the floor is...
Okay, Ryan, so you know, I go to Albany State, and being enrolled at a HBCU, we see the impact of male leaders. However, many young men at these universities are hesitant to take charge and step up as leaders. As for example, at Albany State, we had a vacancy, and the people actually trying to run for Mister FVSU. So how can we prepare these young men for leadership roles?
Well, I will say that it takes the right male leader. My platform running for Mr. Fort Valley is make your mark, setting the example for the Wildcats of today, for the Wildcats of the future. So every day is my goal to set some type of example to show that, hey, I'm capable of doing this, so are you. And like I said, it takes the right male leader.
Right.
Because sometimes you have male leaders who may not connect with certain individuals on the campus.
Right.
And I think that plays a part in it too, because some campus kings are too good for their you know, to interact with students. Some male leaders are, you know, a little over themselves, so it kind of makes it hard for some students to, you know, just approach them in a way to that, you know, if they are interested, they can get advice and just some suggestions and feedback on how they can accomplish the same things that the male leaders are accomplishing. So to answer your question, it takes the right male leader.
Right. I can see that you're very genuine. You don't have a lot of people who are genuine anymore, especially in leadership roles.
What is it? What's going on with our young men? What do you think it is?
Personally, growing up, you know, being in school, you don't really see a lot of male representation when it comes to teachers, principals, so they really don't have that person to look up to when it comes to being in all these extracurricular activities. They always see the girls as go-getters, so I guess they don't really have the male to look up to in a sense. But at Stockbridge, we were grateful enough to have Hotep, or Mr. Petty as we called him, to actually encourage the boys that yes, this is what we need to do in order to get into college, to make our resumes look better. You need to be involved in things, especially for the boys. He pushed it for the boys. So I think it's just, we just lack representation in the males in the education system.
What do you take?
Exposure, the type of exposure young men are, you know, exposed to at a young age. They see, and not to discredit any musical artist, right, but now being 23 years old, I see the influence that some of these rappers have.
Come on.
There's a guy named NBA Youngboy, and me personally, I'm not a huge fan. However, I see a lot of young men having their hairstyle like Youngboy, dressing, talking like Youngboy. If you wanna, if someone's pursuing a music career, if they wanna have create a song, they sound like NBA Youngboy. They sound like this artist named Lil Key. They looking like Lil Key. They dyeing their dreads. They everyone has dreads, and it's the influence, and that's what they see. Oh man, he got money and he looked like this. Oh man, he got all the women looking like this. Oh well, if he can do it, I can do it. I feel like I can rap better than him. And then just like that, you lost him. Whereas there's not enough exposure with young men in suits being successful. There's not enough exposure of young men speaking well at speaking engagements and making appearances at schools where I look just like you and I'm successful wearing this, and it's just not enough of that. So just what these young men are exposed to either makes or breaks them growing up. Honestly, my mother, my grandparents, and the church that I attend. I attend Welcome Friend Baptist Church off of Boulder Crest Road in Ellenwood, Georgia. My pastor is Dr. John H. Smith Sr. And with one thing about my pastor and with my family as well, I didn't have no choice. You're gonna do this, and you're gonna do it well.
Yep.
I was what, maybe 10 years old. Pastor Smith said, hey, it was myself and two other young men that I grew up in the church with. And he said, hey guys, you all are going to be junior deacons. And this is your position on the junior deacon board, this is your position, and this is your position. And ever since, it's taken off. Now, 7, 8 years later, all three of us, we're now ordained deacons in that church. Learning scriptures, learning songs, learning hymns, and just learning more about our religion has helped us grow as men. And with especially my grandmother, Betty Dixon, I love her to death. She corrects me on everything. Like, if my shoe could be untied, hey, tie your shoe. You know, I could be talking in my normal, relaxed, chill voice, and she'll still correct me on grammatical errors in my when I speak. So they just stayed on me so much to where I had no choice but to do right. And I'm thankful and grateful of it, because there's a lot of young men out here that didn't receive that type of love and discipline growing up, and it shows. So.
Another question to that, because some kids say, well, I did not experience it. I hear that a lot in school. You know, I didn't have that experience. You know, yes, my mom, you know, was hard on me, and my grandmother was hard on me. But sometimes I'm like, it's the tone. Mm-hmm. So speak to the tone that your mom and your grandmother must have used. Because that's something that the kids tell me, you know, and I'm like, okay, how are they saying it? Because those are the correct things.
Yeah, that's a hard question, because, you know, the way they raised me, you know, I don't question, I don't, you know, it's just whatever they say goes. Yep. Now I will say that obviously there was a way that they addressed it to me and presented it to me, because I took it well and I did what they asked me to do and I made it happen. So sometimes when it comes to parents and guardians, tone does matter, I will say, because when you're talking at them and not talking to them, I think that makes a difference. And psychologically, it can kind of just mess them up a little bit, and they don't really know what they want to do, because the way is received by them. So, yeah.
Right.
So Ryan, I want to ask you, what motivated you, and how do you believe we can motivate other young men to actually step up and stand out?
Yeah, when did you see it?
Well, going to Southwest DeKalb, you have a mixture of like students who are bound to do good things, and then you have some students who are bound to not do so many great things. And honestly, I was in 9th grade, and it wasn't like I was a troublemaker, but I kid you not, I was in 9th grade, and the police came in and arrested this young lady out of the classroom, just out of nowhere. She just said, they knocked on the door, hey, we need so-and-so, and she was out. Came out when we got more information. She was a part of like a drug deal. You know, we 14, 15 years old, and you already exposed to drugs. So what motivated me, that scared me. And she was a young lady. I haven't even talked about the men. That was a girl. So, but seeing these students getting arrested, and seeing middle school's classmates on the show Beyond Scared Straight.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taking a trip to DeKalb County jail, and it was just a field trip. I was obviously with the wrong group because it wasn't for me, but seeing those inmates, seeing those students get arrested, like you're experiencing that, you're witnessing that. It scares you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna be that. I want to be something more positive. I don't want to be a product of my environment. And not saying that area, South DeKalb is in a decent area. It just so happened that those students were just caught up in those wrong situations. So that really motivated me to just do well and just do the right thing. Because my parents, they take care of me and my little sister. Anything we need, they'll be sure to do the best they can to provide for us. So our only duty is to just do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Go to school, respect your teachers, do your work, go home, and you're good to go. So that's one of the key things that motivated me.
So you actually see a lot of these organizations that are just filled with ladies, young ladies. We're the leaders of the school, but then you see some that just fall off the wayside because they, like he said, they focus more on their looks or what the boys like or appeasing the boys when really you're there for your education. So that motivates me as well because I'm just like, I have to set myself apart from the stigma. Or I'm just in school to get the boys, or we're just here to have fun, we're just here to party, but that's not what my parents paid for. That's not my goal in this. So you also have the girls who don't do as good as the other girls who are in leadership roles or in these organizations around school.
Do you feel like you're a leader? How does that feel?
Right.
When you're in front and, I think sometimes they don't know the feeling or they've never experienced that feeling of being a leader, being looked at. But sometimes I've heard a parent say, my child is not a leader. He don't need to sign up for that. What? So what?
Yeah.
She right. Talk about the feeling though.
Talk about the feeling of being a leader.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling, but you can't, as a leader, you can't just focus on, I'm that leader, I'm that guy, I'm that girl. You can't focus on that. You have to, at all times, make sure that you're perfecting your craft and make sure that you're bringing something different to the table each and every day to make sure that you're progressing and enhancing whatever you're doing. So being a leader, it takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of, just knowing that, hey, they're counting on me to make things happen, and you just have to make it happen by any means necessary. So if you have to take time out your day to meditate on, okay, what we have to prepare for the next day or the next event, then you have to do that. If you need to take time to seek advice and help from others to enhance your program or enhance whatever you're doing, you have to do that. You have to find ways to make sure that you're always progressing, and that's the key thing with leadership: progressing.
Pushed me to actually run for, Miss Sophomore. I have people pushing me to run for Miss ASU, but personally, like the other people, I say that's not for me. But around campus, I am involved in certain organizations, one of which is a mentoring program. So we see these freshmen look up to us 24/7, and it's just something that it's actually a task because I've had to go pick up these people from parties that were just messed up. But it was my duty as a leader to show them that this is what you do. I had to get out my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure that they were okay. So it's not only focusing on yourself, but focusing on those who look up to you as well. And as far as people seeing the leader in me, I don't see it sometimes, but other people will see it. And that's opened up opportunities for me that I just never thought would even come to fruition because I'm just me. I'm just focusing on my work, focusing on my craft, and I have this tunnel vision, but other people see things in me that I don't see. So that's, yeah.
So, just other kings per se? Mm-hmm. All right, well, I have a great group of guys, brothers, that are different, that are the kings of their institutions. And we are all very much alike. We share the same stories, we have some of the same experiences, and that's what makes it so great to be in this position, because yes, a lot of people will never know what it's like to be a Mr. Fort Valley State University, or a Miss Fort Valley State University, or a Mr. or Miss whatever, college or university. But those guys, awesome, amazing, they dress well, and we learn from each other. We learn from each other, like, I never wore lapel pins before I became Mr. Fort Valley, but I know my brother kings, a lot of them wear lapel pins. So I'm asking, okay, what side do I put it on? Do I put it on the left side or up on the right side? Okay, all right, what accessory do you use for this? How do you properly fold a pocket square into your, your pocket on your suit jacket? So it's different things like that we learn from each other. And fortunately, some of us live in close proximity. So, for instance, Mr. Tuskegee University, he's from Charlotte. Mr. North Carolina A&T, he lives in North Carolina as well. And they drive down to Georgia and we hang out. Mr. Clark Atlanta and I, we were really close friends, and we hang out when we can. Mr. Albany has came to my apartment to Fort Valley State University, so that bond is amazing. And just for it's a very refreshing feeling when you have other young men doing the exact same thing you're doing. It's like, okay, I'm not in this alone. Okay. So it's an amazing feeling, most definitely.
So Ryan, how do you rock 10?
How do I rock 10? Well, honestly, taking time for yourself. Being in this position of Mr. Fort Valley, you're ripping and running, you're always busy. So you want to take that cool down time to say, hey, I'm going to stop everything. I'm not going to worry about this email, this meeting, this whatever. I'm just going to take time to myself. Do things that you actually enjoy, in your downtime, whether it's reading a book, watching sports. I don't play video games anymore, but some young men out there, they still play NBA 2K and Fortnite. So, but that's my way of rocking 10. And like I said, just doing things that can control your nerves and calm you down in the time of need, and praying, man. Mm-hmm. Your relationship with God is so important. Because if it wasn't for Him, I don't know where I would be. And His guidance and His love and His care for me. So it's always important to keep that relationship with God strong, because He can take it all away with a blink of an eye.
Come on.
And everything that you've received over the years can be gone just like that. But yeah, that's my way of rocking 10.
Absolutely, he gets it in. I love it, Ryan. So when you say that, do you see some of the men on campus perhaps doing that? Do you see a lot of it, or do you think it needs to be more of it?
It needs to be more of it.
Okay, so you're saying like I need to come to the campus? I'm just shameless.
I can say you do have young men who do take the challenge of bettering themselves, and sometimes there's a certain way you have to approach some of the young men on our campus. Everyone wasn't raised the same, so they are not aware, or they don't know how to be approached or what to respond with when approached. But I believe that the young men after this school year, some of them will start to get it. And then there'll be a domino effect to where a lot of the young men will be back on the same page, how Fort Valley used to be. Because I will honestly say, when I was a freshman, even if you wasn't the best student, everyone was still pretty much on the same page. Everyone still knew what was going on and what was expected of them. So at Fort Valley State, we kind of lost it, but it's a mixture of like it's like a little half and half, but we need more of the other half that's not it to become it.
Come on.
Do you see where since we're talking about that, I think you segued right onto something very important. Do you need for some of the alumni to come back and instill some of those things? I know some of them are there. We see them and we support them. Do y'all have enough of us coming back to rock the 10?
We do have a lot of alumni who come and who care. And who come back and shed light of their experience to the students. I honestly think that the alumni who have came through have done all that they could to make things better for the students. It's up to the students to make it happen. But one thing I will say that could be a great idea for our institution. There's a guy named Hank Stewart. He's a part of the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame Foundation with Fort Valley alum Tommy Dortch. And with Mr. Stewart, he goes to Booker T. Washington every Friday with the Royal Court members, with the male Royal Court members of Clark Atlanta University. So T. Jordan Carter, who is Mr. Clark Atlanta currently, T. Jordan, the members of his Royal Court, they'll go to Booker T. Washington and they'll speak to the high school students. I feel like there should be, and I know that there are freshman mentor programs, but I feel like there could be more, touching up on that as well when it comes to just the freshman mentorship. I know there's a guy on campus, he's a residential coordinator, Andreas Manning. And he has a Boys to Men program, and he is the residential coordinator for the freshman male dormitory on campus. So that's one program that we have. There's another program, Black Men with Initiative, that's on Fort Valley State University's campus, and they do a great job of bringing together young men on campus to, pretty much to uplift and empower. So, but other than that, we have those programs in place. I think we just need to take it up a few levels, if you ask me.
Okay.
And that's that. So.
All right. He rocks 10. What are you doing?
Well, as you know, I take my studies really serious, sometimes a little too serious. So meditation for me is something that is needed. I had 8 a.m.s every day. So I really didn't have time to meditate before I went to class, but I made sure that I prayed and listen to gospel music before I go to class to just start my day off. It was really important for me to find a church home. So I go to church at Bethel AME. It's right down the street from our school, so they're very loving. They make sure that they send us home with care packages, stuff that I would need. It's a home away from home. Sometimes even being 2.5 hours away, it's just, you can get lonely sometimes, and it's just that your church family is always someone that you can depend on. Also, I actually started working out too, so that actually really helped me as a form of meditation as well, especially focusing on your body, not so much for like a physical sense, but more so of like a health aspect. It's better to be healthy than just to look better, I guess. So that actually helped me rock 10.
Okay, look at it has been a pleasure, but I do want to point out that Randall Barnes from HBCU Post is here, and it is an internet sensation. I will say, I looked at it last night. You're doing a wonderful job featuring all of our HBCUs and the things that's going on the campuses. So Randall, hats off to you, and again, congratulations for completing college. That is major, and I know that it's going to be blessings upon blessings that are coming to you because of what you're doing to highlight the good things about our Black historical colleges.
Come on.
All right. So there, yeah. So make sure that you follow. Go ahead and follow on Instagram, HBCU Post. Make sure you do that if you're not doing it already.
Come
So
on.
that's what we're going to do. We want to make sure that we're supporting our youth because education matters.
Yes, it does.
All right. So Rock 10, get it in today. We love you. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.